If you have questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please submit them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Christian colleges solve the woke problem. Hi, I'm Dave Arnott, the Christian Economist. A professor named John Ellis wrote a fire-breathing editorial in the Wall Street Journal this week titled, "Higher Education Has Become a Threat to America." It is subtitled, "Our Corrupt, Radical Universities Feed Every Scourge from Censorship and Crime to Anti-Semitism." Yeah, he's mostly right, but his prescription is wrong. As with most problems in a free society, the market will take care of this problem. The Council for Christian Colleges and Universities. There is an alternative form of education that Mr. Ellis overlooks: Christian higher education. 150 members of the Council for Christian Colleges and Universities suffer from almost none of the maladies Mr. Ellis points out in his scathing article. He writes, quote, "Every one of these degradations can be traced wholly or in large part to a single source: the corruption of higher education by radical political activists," end quote. Okay, let's see. I've been on the faculty at Dallas Baptist University for 30 years, so I'll speak for my university and safely assume that that mostly applies to the other 150 CCCU members. There are no radical political activists on our campus. Never have been, unless you count the very conservative Young Americans for Freedom, who recently hosted a speech by retired Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. There is also the Pro-Life Patriots Organization. On President's Day, their Facebook page invited students to, quote, "Join us this President's Day as we remember some of the most pro-life presidents in history," end quote. The announcement was accompanied by photos of both Presidents Bush, President Reagan, and President Trump. Biblical justice. Here's Mr. Ellis writing again, quote, "Children's test scores have plummeted because college education departments train teachers to prioritize social justice over education," end quote. Nope. Not at my university, nor I would think at just about any of the other CCCU members. We like to study biblical justice. A phrase you might hear in a classroom is something like, "There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is neither male nor female. For you are all one in Christ Jesus." Mr. Ellis complains, quote, "Censorship started with one-party campuses shutting down conservative voices," end quote. That's never happened at my university. In the recent past, we've hosted former CIA and State Department head Mike Pompeo, former President George W. Bush, former Secretary of Defense General Jim Mattis, and Kristen and Keith Getty. I know, you don't know that last couple. They record and perform Christian praise songs. This week, we're having retired Army General David Petraeus on campus. We've never had a protester, at least that I know of, and we don't expect to have one this week. Our students think, and they don't allow their feelings to control their lives. I unpack more on that topic in my podcast number 97, titled Thinking versus Feeling. And our students show respect for competing ideas. They don't shout them down or usher them off campus. They treat guest speakers as guests, as they do all campus visitors. Be fruitful and multiply. Here's Mr. Ellis writing again, quote, "The drive to separate children from their parents begins in long-standing campus contempt for the suburban home and nuclear family," end quote. It's the total opposite at our university. Yeah, Dennis Prager spoke in chapel. Then he hosted his national radio program from our campus with some students visiting him in the studio. Now, he cited an article about 3 women featured in a recent Atlantic magazine article who stated they would not have children because of their fear of climate change. Mr. Prager asked our students how many of them wanted to get married. And a small sample in the studio, all of them raised their hands. And having children was beyond question, of course. They planned to get married and have children. Opining about the border crisis. Back to Mr. Ellis again. He says, quote, "Open borders reflect pro-globalism and anti-nation state sentiment among radical professors," end quote. Of the approximately 4,500 students at Dallas Baptist University, about 500 are from other countries. Most of them live in a dorm that is designed to have 2 international students and 2 U.S. students living together. If you want a peaceful world, maybe having a roommate from another country and another culture is a good learning environment. My podcast number 166 was titled Where DEI Goes to DIE, if you get it. Apparently, Mr. Ellis agrees with me. He says, or he writes, I should say, DEI started as a campus ruse to justify racial quotas, end quote. At my university, we did have one person with a title that had something to do with diversity, but she went off to another job off campus, and I don't think she's been replaced. If we have a DEI office, I'm not even aware of it. Jesus was a Jew, Mr. Ellis writes in his article, quote, campus anti-Semitism. Yeah, I won't even bother you with the rest of the sentence from Mr. Ellis. Are you kidding? We know that Christianity grew out of Judaism. Jesus was a Jew. Being anti-Semitic wouldn't make much sense now, would it? Ellis claims that, quote, professors are now predominantly closed-minded, ignorant, and stupid enough to believe that Marxism works, end quote. Okay. Since Marxism denounces Christianity, you won't find many Marxists among professors at Christian colleges and universities. Problem solved. Back to Ellis again. He provides this solution, quote, personnel is policy. Effective reform means only one thing, getting those political activists out of the classrooms and replacing them with academic thinkers and teachers, end quote. Way ahead of you, Mr. Ellis. Members of the CCCU have almost completely done what you suggest, almost without changing a single teacher. We already had academic thinkers and teachers on our campuses. Christianity and capitalism. Mr. Ellis rages against the term anti-capitalism. Again, you don't even need the rest of the sentence. I teach macroeconomics at Dallas Baptist University, and one of my favorite phrases that I will repeat in class this week is a direct quote from Whole Foods founder John Mackey in the Wall Street Journal defending capitalism as, are you ready for this, quote, the greatest thing humanity's ever done, end quote. Now, Mr. Ellis unknowingly supports the CCU idea when he writes, quote, this would bring about competition between corrupt institutions and sound ones, end quote. Sorry, Mr. Ellis, that competition already exists. It's between the largely state-supported universities who have been corrupted and the sound ones who are members of the Council for Christian Colleges and University. Now, he does correctly state, quote, never have college campuses exerted so great or so destructive an influence, end quote. Yeah, he's right, but not at the CCCU universities. They are graduating wholesome, intelligent, serious students who want to make the world a better place to live. I've often told people, when you get tired of listening to me yell at you on CNN and Fox News, come visit chapel at my university, where you will be surrounded by 1,000 young people singing praises to God. Now that will give you hope for the future. Mr. Ellis closes his screed writing about, quote, the tyrannical grip that the hopelessly corrupt higher education system now has on our national life. If we don't stop it now, it will eventually destroy the most successful society in world history, end quote. Chill out, Mr. Ellis. It doesn't have to be stopped. The market will take care of this problem as consumers choose Christian colleges over the corrupt state institutions. I'm Dave Arnott, the Christian Economist. Fear God, tell the truth, earn a profit. See you next time. For more information, please visit us online at davearnott.com. If you have questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please submit them online or in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.